Hello. In this short video we're going to look at the steps required to migrate a campaign manager system from one set of servers to another. We call system migration or replication. We might need to do this because perhaps the existing platform is not powerful enough, or additionally we may want to split out a client from a multi-tenanted system and run it on its own dedicated servers. Another reason for doing this might be taking a copy of a production system, restoring it on a development environment for testing and troubleshooting. This video is only going to show you an overview of the process. A detailed description of it is in the associated download. In a campaign manager system, all paths, server names and URLs are held in either config files or SQL tables, and this makes it a relatively simple exercise to migrate or replicate a system. And the method we're going to demonstrate here, though, does not make use of VM cloning, which in some ways is more complex than the method we're going to show you. And the method we're going to show you also will work with both physical and virtual servers. Another advantage it has is that any required updates, they're all confined to SQL tables, so they're actually easy to script. Where our paths, servers, etc. are stored? Well, in SQL terms, they're stored in all the databases that make up a campaign manager system. We look at a demo sort of system here, which has two client DBs, Alchemy and MaxiCore. Alchemy, of course, was the original one. MaxiCore has been added later. All client-related metadata, including users, permissions, data sources, documents, etc., are held in these client DBs. There's also three system DBs: AL-main, which holds system-wide settings; Alterian Auth, which holds data on logins, but is also the main repository for system URLs; and Alchemy Store, which is a black box, and we don't really need to know what's in it. However, what we do need to do is ensure that the relationships between these databases maintain their integrity during the migration. Just define a couple of terms. Full system migration is what we're covering here, and this does include the stripping out of a single client DB from a multi-tenanted system and relocating its own dedicated servers, but it does not include copying a client DB from a production system, say, to a dev environment for testing or troubleshooting. The steps are slightly different, and there's a separate video covering it. Other terms we use a lot: source system, the current system, the one being migrated from, and target system is going to be the new system, the one being migrated to. Just a word of caution. When migrating a full system, it is reasonable to try and run the migration in advance of the actual cutover date. But when this is done, and the campaign manager is sending email output to Alterian's email manager, during the trial period, the target system must not send output to email manager or poll email manager with history data. If there is a requirement to test email output during the trial period, then please contact us for guidance as to go about that. And if you're not sure how to stop email manager polling, if you're not sure how to stop campaign manager polling email manager history data, again, please contact us for guidance on how to do that. We can represent the process we're going to do diagrammatically like this at some convenient point, and normally that is after an overnight load, but before we've restarted the system. We're going to back up everything on the source system. That's all the SQL databases and engine repositories. We're going to copy those across to the target system where we're going to restore them. We're going to run a set of SQL updates, and then we can resume campaigns. It's probably reasonable to tell your clients and the users in your clients that you will need the system offline for a day to do this. Okay, so let's look at the steps in a little bit more detail. These are preparation steps. They happen on the target system. They can be carried out any time before the cutover date. On the target system, install exactly the same version of Campaign Manager running on the source system. And if the source system has more than one engine server, add these as part of this installation. Create identically named engine projects as those on the source system. Run the two SQL statements you'll find in preparation step 3 of the download associated with this video. The download is called Full System Migration, and you need to store the results of those two SQL statements. Use the sysadmin app to completely shut down Campaign Manager. Delete the AL-main, Alchemy Store, Alterian Auth and Alchemy DBs. Copy the source system's load and data maintenance scripts. It might be easier to copy the engine project folders but exclude the repository to the target system, and edit to change paths and other values as required. You do not need to update the static tokens. They will be the same after the migration. At cutover time, as we said, normally the ideal time that's just after an overnight load. On the source system, pause or make sure all campaign processing is paused. Please don't think just because there are actually no campaigns running at the moment that's sufficient, because there will almost certainly be history processing taking place in the background. And pausing campaigns also pauses that, and we need everything paused to undertake this exercise. So do make sure all campaign processes in the pause state. Once you're sure of that, use the sysadmin app utility completely shut down Campaign Manager. Back up the AL main, Alterian, Auth, Alchemy Store, and all client DBs, and copy the backups to the target system's SQL server. Backup or copy all engine repositories and copy to the target system's engine server or servers. Then again on the target system, move the copied engine repository folders to their respective projects. Restore the AL main, Alterian, Auth, Alchemy Store, and client DBs. If and only if the URL of the system is changing, then run the SQL contained in Appendix 1 of the download for system migration. You'll need to set the source and target URLs as needed. To repeat, you only need to do that if the URL is changing. You will in all cases need to run the SQL contained in Appendix 2 updates to AL main, setting the source and target application, SQL and engine server names as required. Then for each client DB migrated, you'll need to run the SQL contained in Appendix 2 updates to client DB, setting the parameters as required. Please note these scripts can take a long time to run. They're likely to perform millions of updates. I've seen them take 10 to 15 minutes quite frequently. Use the sysadmin app utility to restart Campaign Manager, and then you can resume campaign processing. Now, if the requirement is simply to relocate a single client DB to its own dedicated system, then the safest way of doing that is to follow the steps as outlined in this video, i.e. migrate the entire environment. Then, before you resume campaign processing, use the API to disable all non-required client DBs. Then use the API to delete all non-required client DBs. Then you can resume campaign processing. There are other ways of achieving this, but this is the surest way of guaranteeing the integrity of the various SQL databases is maintained. Okay, that concludes this video. Thanks for watching. Please do remember there's more detail in the associated download.